Welcome back, all you awakened savages. And let me ask you this question. Who are you, right? Why do you think you're here on Earth at this specific time? Right? Do you think your existence is some random accident? Right? Let me be truthful with you right now. You weren't born by accident. You weren't placed here by mistake. You were chosen for this life. See, the odds of even existing are about 1 in 400 trillion, right? One sperm, one egg, one moment in time out of billions, trillions of possibilities. Life said, you have this opportunity. And yet, most men waste that miracle, right? They drink it away, they scroll it away, they numb it away, right? They act like being alive is some burden instead of the greatest gift you will ever receive. And here's the hard truth. If you don't understand why you were chosen for this life, you will drift. And drifting will turn into regret. But if you do understand, if you lean into the fact that you are here for a purpose, it changes everything. Right? All that pain you experienced starts to make sense. Your struggles become your training, and your life stops being random. It becomes a mission. And this is what today's video is all about. Understanding why you were chosen, how to uncover your reason, and how to start living like a man who was trusted with this gift of life and not wasting it like so many do. Because you weren't chosen to drift, you were chosen to build, you were chosen to lead, you were chosen to live. Right? And let's look at this myth of randomness. Right? We live in a world that tells men that their life is random, that they're this flesh and bone meat suit floating through space on a rock, that meaning is made up, purpose is optional, and death is the end. And see, when you believe that story, you will live like it. You will drift, you will waste time, you will numb out, you will settle. Because if life is random, why should I bother going all in? Right? And here's the reality of it. Your life is not random. Everything about you, your DNA, your family, your struggles, your story is one of one. It has never happened before and it will never happen again. Think about it. Out of billions of possibilities, this version of you showed up. Not your brother, not your neighbour, not a different man born in a different century. You here now, in this moment. Right? And ancient cultures understood this. They didn't see life as random. They saw it as an assignment. You were born into a tribe, into a season, into a body because you were meant to carry a role. Right? And whether you want to believe it or not, the same is true today. You were chosen to face the exact struggles that you've faced. You were chosen to carry the exact gifts you've been given. You were chosen to live in this time, not 1,000 years ago, not 100 years from now, but now, right now. And the only question is, are you going to keep living like it's random? Or are you going to own the fact that you are here on purpose and start living like you were chosen? Because there is a cost that comes with this, right? The cost of forgetting you were chosen. So what happens when a man forgets that he was chosen? Right? When he buys into the lie that life is random, meaningless, empty, he drifts. He wakes up tired, drags himself through the day, right? Goes to bed unfulfilled. He reaches for distractions, the bottle, the phone, porn, comfort food, anything to fill that void he feels within. But nothing sticks. Nothing satisfies. And the longer that he lives that way, the more he will collapse. Without purpose, his body softens. Without meaning, his mind will decay. Without a vision, his spirit grows hollow. Right? A man who forgets he was chosen becomes dangerous. And I don't mean in strength, but I mean in weakness. He stops fighting for his family. He stops leading himself. He stops caring about tomorrow because today already feels like it's too much. Right? And here's the thing. When a man forgets he was chosen, he often starts to believe the world would be better off without him. This is when depression creeps in. This is where addiction takes over. Right? This is where men take their own lives. Not because they're weak, but because they've forgotten they were chosen to live. And this is the cost of forgetting. Not just wasted years, but wasted lives. And if you're feeling that weight right now, I want you to hear me clearly. It is not too late, because the same life that chose you once is still choosing you right now. Okay, and let's get real about what this actually means to be chosen. Let's start with the science. Right, the odds of you even existing, right, are about 1 in 400 trillion. Right, as I said, one sperm, one egg, one moment in time. Every ancestor before you had to survive, had to choose, had to carry life forward for you just to be here. If one link in that chain had broken, you would not exist. And yet, here you are, watching me right now. Your DNA combination has never existed before and it will never exist again. You are literally one of one, a miracle in motion. That is not random. That is chosen. And if we look at spiritual law, the law of cause and effect, that says nothing happens without a reason. Every effect has a cause. Every life has a purpose. And the law of correspondence says, as above, so below, as within, so without. You're not separate from the order of life. You're an expression of it. And then we look at the law of rhythm. That shows us that life itself is seasonal. You weren't dropped here by mistake. You were placed here in this exact time to be this exact age, this exact body for a reason. And the translation, you're not here to drift. You're not here just to survive. You are here because life demanded you to be here right now. And that means that your struggles have never been random. Your gifts aren't random. Your desires are not random. They are clues. They are assignments. They are the reason you were chosen. Okay, and how do you actually understand why you were chosen? How do you go from drifting through life to knowing your mission? It all starts with awareness, right? And there's 4 places that you need to look. And the first place is look at your struggles, right? Most men will think that their struggles disqualify them, right? And let me tell you, they do not. They define you. The pain that you've been through, the battles that you've fought, the addictions, the losses, the failures, those aren't accidents. They are training, right? Your struggles are the roadmap to your mission. If you've walked through the gates of hell, it's because one day you will be called to lead someone else out of it, right? And then look at your gifts, right? Every man has them. Whether you believe it or not, you have gifts, right? And the problem is we downplay them, right? So what comes naturally to you? What do people come to you for? It might be wisdom. It might be strength. It might be teaching, building, leading, healing, creating, right? For example, the man who can always calm others down, that gift of stability. The man who can explain complex things simply, that's a gift of teaching. The man who pushes people past their excuses, that's a gift of leadership. The man who builds, fixes, creates, that's a gift of craftsmanship. Your gifts are your weapons. They're not here for you to hoard, right? They're for you to sharpen and use in service. Ignore them and they will rot, right? Hone them in and you will become unstoppable, right? And the next one is look at your responsibilities. And this is, you start with what's in front of you right now, your family, your children, your community. You weren't chosen to escape responsibility. You were chosen to carry it. That's where your purpose begins. If you can't lead yourself and your household, you cannot lead anyone else. Your family, your children, your community, they are not burdens. Again, they are assignments. If you're a father, you are chosen to raise the next generation. That is sacred. If you're a husband, you are chosen to lead with loyalty and love. That is sacred. If you're part of a brotherhood, you were chosen to sharpen and be sharpened. That is also sacred. Right? Too many men want this big purpose, but neglect the mission in their own home. You weren't chosen to escape responsibility. You were chosen to carry it. And this is where it begins. Okay, and the next one, look at your desires. Not the shallow ones, right? Not the craving for money, sex, status. I'm talking about that deep pull in your soul, right? The thing that you just cannot shake. The fire that keeps coming back no matter how many times you try to bury it. Right? For example, the man who wants to write a book, right? His soul is telling him to leave words behind. The man who feels called to coach and lead others, his soul is telling him to pass on strength and wisdom. Right? The man who keeps dreaming about building a business, a movement, a mission, his soul is pulling him towards creation. That desire is your compass. It's not random. It's part of why you were chosen. And here's the truth. Your struggles, your gifts, your responsibilities, your desires, when you put them together, they will paint a picture. That picture is your mission. That is why you were chosen. And see, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Life stops becoming random. It becomes order. It becomes sacred. You stop asking, why me? And you start asking, of course me. This is why I am here. Right? And the ancient wisdom knew this. Right? You might think that the idea of being chosen is modern or motivational or just a way to hype men up. It's not. Every ancient culture understood chosenness. Right? They built their entire way of life around it. Right, the Spartans believed every man was chosen at birth to serve his people. From the moment a boy could walk, he was trained for discipline, strength, sacrifice. He wasn't on his own. He belonged to something much bigger. Right, the Stoics taught that life wasn't random. Marcus Aurelius wrote, everything that happened is assigned to you. Assigned, not by accident. Right, every struggle, every setback, every challenge, chosen specifically for your growth. And then the samurai, they lived by the code of Bushido. Honor, loyalty, service. They believed their life was not their own. They were chosen to live and, necessary, die for duty. Right? And then in tribal cultures all around the world, young men go through rite of passage, fasting, solitude, pain, initiation. These weren't punishments. They were declarations. You are chosen. You are now a man. You carry responsibility for this tribe. Right, and here's the point. Across time, across cultures, across history, men were never told life was random. They were told life was sacred. They were told they were chosen, and with that chosenness came responsibility. But today, the modern men, they've lost that. We're told to chase comfort, not calling, to numb pain, not to face it, to avoid responsibility, not to embrace it. This is why men feel so lost, because deep down, your soul still remembers you were chosen. And when you forget it, you drift. But see, when you own it, you will rise. You will rise to a height you could never imagine. And I want to share something personal with you, right? Because I didn't live like I was chosen. But I can now see that everything I went through was preparation. Right? For years, I chased instant gratification. I numbed myself with alcohol, drugs, distractions. And see that path, it took me to the bottom. 3 trips to rehabs, 4 home detoxes, multiple stints in prison, deportation, depression, social anxiety. Right? I ended up overweight, unhealthy, unreliable. At one point, my body gave out. Right? I was partially paralysed. 3 times I was in the crisis unit because I wanted to end my life. Now, looking back, I see it differently. Right? At the time, I cried out, oh, poor me, why me? Why is this happening to me? I thought it was punishment. I thought it was proof that I was broken and useless. But it wasn't. It was preparation. Right? And the moment that everything shifted, right? And I've spoke about this before, I had this profound spiritual awakening, physical sensations, visions, voices. It was crazy, right? So I was still trying to make sense of what had just happened to me. My mind kept telling me that I was making all this up because what I had experienced was so surreal, right? But if I thought that was surreal, what happened next changed the whole direction of my life. Now, Archangel Michael came to me and he told me everything that I went through happened for a reason. It was all preparation for what's to come. And he told me clearly, you were chosen. Now, at first, I was overwhelmed, right? I couldn't wrap my head around what was happening. And then he gave me this activation. And what I felt in this moment, I can't explain it with words, but it brought me to tears, right? And this all confirmed something that I had felt a long time ago. I was about 21, right? And back then I had this strong feeling that I was here for something different, that I was here for a reason. Right, so I told the one person that I trusted the most in the world, and it was my mum. And she laughed, like jokingly, asking me, are you on drugs? Right, so I suppressed it. But now everything was coming back to me. And I knew I was here for a reason. Every fall, every mistake, every failure, it was preparing me. Right, preparing me to live with discipline, preparing me to carry purpose, preparing me to step into why I was chosen. And see, the words that landed the deepest were, you were chosen. Right? Now, at first, obviously my ego jumps in and I'm thinking, oh, wow, I'm chosen, I'm special. But that wasn't what it was. Not chosen because I was special, not chosen because I was perfect, not chosen because I was strong. I was chosen because I had walked through the carnage, the chaos, the madness, the fire. And now I could lead others through that. Right? And that's the truth I carry now. Everything that you've been through, the addictions, the failures, the heartbreak, the regrets, none of it is wasted. It was all on purpose. It was preparation. Preparation for the man you're becoming. Preparation for the mission that you've been given. And when you finally see it that way, the pain stops being meaningless. It becomes sacred. It becomes the proof that you were chosen. So, how do you actually live like you were chosen? This is not about waiting for a sign. It's not about being perfect. It's about daily alignment. And here's a framework that you can follow. This is stuff that I use every single day. So, step number one, anchor in gratitude. See, a chosen man, he wakes up knowing that life itself is a gift. So every morning start with gratitude. I'm not talking about a fluffy gratitude list. I'm talking about real gratitude. Thank God, source, the universe, whatever you believe in. Thank life for the fact that you woke up breathing. Gratitude is how you remember you were chosen. For example, when you're brushing your teeth, instead of trying to rush through it, think to yourself, say out loud even, I'm so grateful I'm alive today. I get another chance at this beautiful life. I'm so grateful I have teeth to brush. See, this one shift, it stops you from drifting and reminds you that this day is chosen and you're choosing how to live it. Step number two, discipline the vessel. A chosen man does not treat his body like trash. Train it, fuel it, rest it, because your body is the vehicle of your mission. A weak body cannot carry a strong calling. Think about it. A soldier going into battle, he doesn't, fight his enemy with a dull sword. Yet men walk about in life neglecting their body and wonder why they lose. A chosen man, you sharpen your sword daily. Even if it's 20 push-ups, a run, a walk, a clean meal. One choice at a time, and then start to build it as you go. Step number three, sharpen your gifts. You weren't given talents, skills, gifts by accident. You were chosen. You have weapons to sharpen. That might be your voice, your leadership, your craft, your wisdom. Don't bury them. Don't hide them. Hone them until they are razor sharp. Right, for example, maybe you have a gift for teaching, but you've been silent. Start sharing what you know with your kids, with your friends, people online. Maybe you're a builder, but you've left a project half finished. Right, pick one and complete it. Chosen men don't let their gifts gather dust. They sharpen them daily. Step number four, embrace your responsibilities. Chosen men don't run from responsibility. They run towards it. Start with what's in front of you, your family, your work, your community. Show up with loyalty, integrity, presence. Responsibility is not a burden. It's a privilege. It's proof that you were chosen. Right? For example, a man who skips out on his kids, life isn't free for him. Right? He's abandoned that mission. But see, the man who sits with his son at night, even when he's tired, planting wisdom, that's a man living as he's chosen. The man who shows up for his wife when life is hard, not just when it's easy, that's chosenness in action. Be that man. Step number five, follow your deep desire. Okay? Not the surface level cravings. I'm talking about that deep pull within. That thing that your heart cannot shake. The book, the business, the mission, the change that you know that you're supposed to make. Chosen men don't ignore that pull. They pursue it. Even if it's slow, even if it's messy, because that desire is part of their assignment. Right? For example, there's a man who's always felt called to write, but he keeps saying, I don't have the time, maybe someday I'll get to it. Living chosen means writing one paragraph at a time, one page today, one sentence today. Right? Or the man who dreams of mentoring young men, but keeps waiting. Living chosen means start with one kid in your neighbourhood, start with your son, or coach your son's football team or sports team. The action doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. Okay, and the last one, step number 6, serve beyond yourself. The ultimate mark of being chosen is service. Your life is not just about you. It's about how you impact the people around you, the generations after you. Chosen men don't just chase success, they build legacy. For example, the man who spends his weekend teaching his kids how to work with their hands, that's legacy. The man who mentors a younger guy at work instead of competing against him, that's legacy. The man who chooses honesty in business even when it costs him, that is legacy. Right? And this is the truth, brother. When you live this way, grateful, disciplined, sharpening your gift, carrying responsibility, honouring your desires and serving others, you don't have to wonder if you were chosen. You will know it because you will feel it in every single choice that you make. Right? And this is what it comes down to. You were chosen for this life, not by accident, not by mistake, not as a punishment. You were chosen. And see, chosenness, It's not about privilege. It's about responsibility. It means that the weight that you carry, the battles that you've fought, the gifts that you've been given, they weren't random. They were assigned to you. The question now is, what are you going to do with it? Okay, because you can keep living life like it's random, drifting from day to day, numbing out, wasting the gifts you've been given. Or you can step into your chosenness and live with purpose, gratitude, discipline. When you live chosen, you stop chasing comfort and start building legacy. You stop asking, why me? And you start saying, of course me. You stop running from responsibility and you start carrying that with honor. And this is what most men miss. Your chosenness isn't about you. It's about your family, your community, the generations after you, your legacy. Your children will either inherit the weight of your neglect or the strength of your discipline. So when life is over and people speak your name, what will they say? That you wasted that gift? Or you lived like the legend and you were chosen and left a legacy that will outlive you? The challenge is simple. Every day you wake up, ask yourself, am I living like the man who was chosen? Because here's the truth, brother. Yes, you are. You are chosen. Right? And I'm going to leave you with a field mission here. The next 24 hours, take 30 minutes. No phones, no TV, no distractions, just you and a notebook. And I want you to write down 4 things. The greatest struggle that you've faced in your life. The gift that you know that you carry, even if you've been ignoring it. Right? The biggest responsibility in front of you right now. Your family, your work, your community. The desire you can't shake. The one that keeps coming back to you over and over again. Those 4 things, that's the start of your map. That's why you were chosen. When you're done, pick one action you can make tomorrow that will honour that map. Maybe it's spending time with your kids, calling your kids, telling them you love them. Maybe it's dusting off that project you've been avoiding. Maybe it's committing to a daily ritual that disciplines your body and your mind. Doesn't matter how big, how small. What matters is that you take action right there. Because see, the man who delays is the man who drifts, and the man who acts is the man who remembers he was chosen. When you're done, drop a comment below and tell me one reason why you believe you were chosen for this life. And this is not for me, but for the brotherhood of men watching this who need to know that they are not alone. Right? And if you got any value from this today and you want to be on this journey with me, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, even drop a like on the video. It goes a long way. Every week I show up here. I come to you with real, honest truth, no fluff, no hype, just real tools that help you live like a man you were chosen to be. Listen, brother, as always, I respect you. I believe in you. I love you. Now go and prove it. Live like you were chosen. And I'll catch you on the next one. Got a video here and you can subscribe here. Take care.